In the name of God, the merciful, the loving, peace upon you all. A few days ago, I was looking into this verse, chapter 5, verse 112, with a few brothers, and I came to an interesting, different understanding than what it says. If we just read it for a minute, when the disciples said, "O Jesus, Son of Mary, can your Lord send down to us a table from the heaven?" Now, what does this mean? A table spread with food from heaven, right? How does God, how would a group of human would ask God for something so odd, right? Something that we do not experience every day or even once every year or every decade, right? Now, some people would say, well, God is capable of doing anything and everything. And of course he can, right? God can cease to exist and exist at the same time. Sarcasm. So yeah, we can say that and go by this low level of understanding, or we can actually think and see what the verse is really saying. Now, Jesus said, "Fear God if you should be believers," right? They said, "We wish to consume from it and that our hearts be reassured and know that you have been truthful to us and be among its witnesses," right? Jesus said, the Son of Mary, "O God, our Lord, send down to us again a table spread with food, odd, from the sky, to be for us a festival." Eid. The word over there is Eid, like Eid al-Adha, Eid al-Fitr, right? "For the first of us and the last of us, and a sign from you, and provide for us, and you are the best providers." Now, let's go back again and look at that word, ma'idat, right? This is the word that they translated as a table spread. Now, when it's used as a verb, it means to shake. Now, let's check one verse. "And he has cast into the earth firmly set mountains, lest it shift with you, lest it shakes with you, and rivers and roads, that you may be guided." See that? So God set down mountains to stabilize the earth so it does not shake with us. Okay, so that makes sense. Now we can all, and the other two verses says almost the same thing. Al-ard rawasi an in tamid. Ard rawasi. Yeah. So it looks like this word, when it, in a verb form, it's used with the land, it means to shake. Perfect, beautiful, easy. Now, when it comes to the noun form, they change it into a table spread. Now, if I had to guess, it's probably the translators were influenced by the Bible, right? They had, I think there is a bunch of verses in the Bible where Jesus duplicated fish, or turned water to wine, or fed thousands of people bread and fish from the Bible. Like, it was miracle because he kind of duplicated the food, right? Now, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in miracles. I'm very grounded. I look at the Quran in the eyes of science. Now, okay, now, and one more thing, why is the verb form and the noun form not connected, right? Some people will say, well, that's how the Arabic is. Yeah, I don't think God chose Arabic for, and without reason, right? Like, we have to put some reason in there, right? For example, baker and bakes, right? Baker is a noun, bakes is a verb, right? Those two are connected. Same word, same, almost, they have, similar, like the core meaning is there. It's to make bread or cake, right? But one is in a noun form and one is a verb form. Now, what's wrong if we change the word shake into the noun form and read the verse again, right? Now you might say, "Oh, may God send a shaker in heaven, in the sama," right? The sky. Oh, well, the sky doesn't shake, does it? Right? Like you look at the sky, you don't see it shaking. Makes no sense. Well, let's think about it a bit. When the Earth, okay, think of matter, right? Matter can be in solid, liquid, or gas state, right? It has three state. You know how Christians say there is God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. They're not three, but they're one. Think of water being in a different phase, liquid, gas, or solid. Anyways, that was a side story. It just popped in my head. Uh, anyways, so when the Earth shakes, right? Earth is in a solid phase, right? We all agree to that, right? It's rocks and the ground, whatever minerals in the ground, right? When the sea shakes, right? What is the medium of the sea? It's water in a liquid phase, right? And we all can see uh, the beach on the beach, like when the wave crashes and onto the shore, right? Uh, you might not say, well, it's not shaking, right? For you, it's not, but for the fish, if a fish would be swimming on the beach near like the shore and where the wave is crashing, it's shaking, it's chaotic, it's having a bad day, right? Just like us on Earth experiencing an earthquake, right? With a high magnitude. And well, what about the heaven? Sorry, what about the sky? Well, that's very easy. The medium of the sky is what? Air, which is gas phase. And when when it shakes, right? What it really means here, it's high wind, high velocity, high speed wind, right? And that makes sense. Like if you guys ever been on a plane and they said, "Hey, we hit a turbulent, put on your seatbelt," right? A turbulent is what a turbulent is a high speed wind, right? So this is a little bit of fluid mechanics. Air and water, sorry, gas and liquid, when they flow, there's two type of flows: laminar and turbulent, right? Laminar is very straightforward and smooth, like you can see there. Turbulent is very chaotic, right? Now those two are connected actually. If you know, if you had a pipeline full of, I don't know, natural gas, it would, and you would push it, and if you want to transfer it, right? Let's say from one place to another, and you increase the pressure, right? It would first start slowly, right? It goes first in a laminar flow, and then it has this transition phase, and then it turns into a turbulent flow, right? Now natural gas is gas, right? It's not liquid, and the wind could experience the same thing. High winds could start with a laminar flow, and we all know how, in a hot day, and you get this, wind on your hair or face, right? And it kind of breathes you, right? It's like a breath. It's like a breeze. Uh, and it makes sense. Like you can tell how air is not being chaotic, right? And then there are days where it's very windy and also very rainy. And now think of the birds, right? Like think don't worry. Okay, let me get a better screenshot. Now think if you are a bird flying here. So here are a bunch of birds flying into this chaos, right? Like there's turbulent flow, there's high speed wind, and at a certain speed, wind becomes very chaotic, if you will. It swirls, right? Like it does this. It actually travels in circle, straight line, but it also rotates or goes like clockwise or counterclockwise. Now, if you are a bird, right, in the perspective of a bird, the heaven is shaking, right? It's not stable. It's not secure. So obviously, the bird would say, well, we're gonna just land on Earth, or maybe land on a tree, right? They would just, here you go, settle down on a tree. Now, in my understanding, I think the disciples with Jesus, were asking for high wind, and it kind of gives it away in the in verse 11, 13. So so we can consume from it, right? So I'm like, okay, they want to eat. So obviously, I understand why the translator said, "Oh, table full of food," because they want to eat. They're hungry. Well, what if they're just asking for high wind, for the birds to settle down on ground, so it's easy for them to catch, right? They could just like throw a net on a birds, and feast and have a feast, right? That makes more sense, right? More logical. Now, some people would say, well, why wouldn't just God say manna and quails like he did for the Jews, right? He could have, he could have, or they could have just asked for quails or birds, right? But this is what is written, and this is what God shows. I mean, choice of words. This is what God chose to use, or maybe they said it, right? God didn't force them to say it, but yeah, they could have said men or quails, but they said this instead. There's no problem. There's no contradiction. It's consistent, and it's it doesn't have this weird mythical or fictional understanding of a table spread from the sky, because we don't experience that every day or every year or every decade. We don't ever see food falling from heaven, a table full of food falling from the sky, right? This is very weird and very odd, but people who believe that God can do anything will believe in anything. But in the Quran, God doesn't say that. God says, "Afala ta'qilun?" Don't you reason? Look at the sky, look at the night and day, the sun and the moon. Everything has everything it's functioning in its own laws. Like there's a set of laws um, God gave them, and they're behaving in that certain way. So in order for us to understand the Quran, we shouldn't have this, mythical or fictional mentality, oh, God can do anything, attitude, right? Because, listen, He cannot. I mean, sorry, He can, but He will not, right? It's not a question if He can or cannot. I mean, can God cease to exist and exist at the same time? No, he cannot. It goes against the definition of a God. So even that, God can do anything. It has a context, right? Just like when God says, "Kitaba," what? تفسير لكل شيء, right? هذا كتابة تفسير لكل شيء, right? A book that is fully detailed or fully explained, right? Is it fully explained? Does it have thermodynamics and organic chemistry and calculus? No, it doesn't. It's detailed for everything in terms of guidance, right? That is the context of the Quran. The purpose of the Quran is to get ourselves in heaven, not understand thermodynamics or fluid mechanics, right? So even when you say God can do anything, I don't believe in that. God will never throw a mu'min, a person who strive with his wealth and energy for Islam, and throw him in hellfire just because God can do anything. God cannot be injustice just for an ego trip or to prove a point, right? And we shouldn't say, well, God can, you know, uh, send down a table spread with food and from the sky. Right. He can, but he will not, because that's not how the laws of nature works, right? And we having that interpretation of this mythical, fictional, interpretation, it's really uncalled for, right? And we get it from the Bible, right? Like, no doubt. And this is what translators do. They're reading the Quran with Bible eyeglasses. If they would just read the Quran with scientific mindset, they would actually see that the Quran is very simple when it comes to like all of this. And for me, I think God wrote those verses in such a unique way to distinguish the people who reason versus the people who are just willing to rush into understanding and just say, oh yeah, well, God can do anything, why not table spread? What's wrong with that? No, there is something wrong with that because we don't observe that. God tells us if you want to find God, look at your food, look at yourself, look at the sky and the night and day, right? Very grounded stuff, nothing special. Uh, but somehow people think, oh yeah, there are miracles, so people can believe. Like God sent many miracles, ayat, okay, to the Jews, and they all rejected it. Now I don't know if those like I'm still analyzing those miracles. Ayat, sorry, I shouldn't say the word miracles because I'm against miracles. Uh, uh, God sent down evidence, right? Now I don't. I'm still analyzing the other verses, and yes, I am well aware of them, but I can't explain them all in one day or one week. God says, do not rush into understanding the Quran. Have patience, right? I think there is another interesting verse that I want to pull out. Give me a second. Okay. Am I on? Yep. Okay. Verse 21, verse 37, right? Man was created of haste. So we have the we have the nature of rushing into things, right? We want things immediately, right? Just like we rush into relationships and rush into deciding a major and rush into, and we make mistakes, right? But and it's good to be self-aware of that, right? We also rush into understanding the Quran, right? Everyone wants to know the Quran in a month, 3 months, 1 year, and you think, aha, we're done. No, man was created of haste, right? I will show you my signs, my evidence, so do not impatiently urge me. See, God says, do not, I'll show you. Just, it's gonna take time, right? Just be patient, ponder, think, and reason. And God willing, will show his ayat, his miracles, evidence. So, yeah, I think this is a very interesting finding. I don't know why they changed the verb from shake to table spread. I believe the verb and the noun should be connected, right? Just like baker and bakes. Um, I think we just need more science, understand fluid mechanics or thermodynamics, and then look at the Quran, and we'll find the interpretation is very simple. Now, I am well aware of the other verses that shows miracles, like Jesus resurrecting the dead and all that, and I'll make videos about this, about that, about them, God willing, in the future. I just found this very interesting. I found this perspective very interesting, and I just wanted to share it. And thank you all for listening, and peace upon you.